right. A lot of questions about ISO-8, and according to this post that came out just about an hour ago, says it's coming next week, and I'm going to interpret that as tomorrow because we got in-game notifications saying that there's getting ready for an update. And I want to talk about some things, in detail at the end of the video of what to do when this actually goes live, because there's a lot of confusion. A lot of people worried about, is this going to be time consuming? Is this going to affect speed? And the answer is no and no. The easiest way I can do it is one part progression system, one part new gameplay mechanics. And then I've got some very specific suggestions on what to upgrade first and what to not spend resources on. And we're going to talk about that a little bit closer to the end of the video. But let's go over the blog post word for word, because there's a lot of nuanced things in there. And I want to show you that this is a relatively easy system. Whether or not it's going to be super expensive, we'll see. I'm fully expecting him to come out with packs and orbs and things like that, but we will see. New feature tutorial, ISO-8. Welcome to your introduction to the exciting new feature, ISO-8. We've created a detailed video tutorial to walk you through the feature, so be able to jump right in when it goes live this week. And I'm thinking that'll be tomorrow, actually. Be sure to come out and hang out and stream with us. We are going to be beta testing everything. As soon as the patch goes down, typically there's videos out on things that are coming out, plus I will be streaming. We've also provided some information in text form along with some screenshots. So there is the video. I've watched the video, but pretty much everything is here in text form, which is a little bit easier to process. Whether you're a methodical tinker of teams or prefer a more casual approach to your roster, ISO-8 is a versatile new way to add extra dimension to your characters. Simply put, ISO-8 is a progression system somewhat similar to Gear, which allows you for the first time to customize your characters. And there's a little bit of confusion on this. We're going to talk about this, but basically there is character classes, which are assigned a Stark Tech trait. And then from there, there's this class trait, which is customizable. But a lot of this, the Stark Tech part, is not customizable. So they're showing right here Captain Marvel, which is a blaster, and they put the class on healer. So we're going to go down here. Outfinding your character, ISO-8 will add additional power, boost the capabilities of your current characters, grant new abilities, create new team possibilities, and allow you to customize characters based on your playstyle. Fine. The basic ISO-8 character, acquire crystals, equip your crystals as designated attribute, unlock and choose your class, and then customize your squads using ISO-8 boosted characters. Okay, so ISO-8 unlocks at Commander level 55, and upon unlocking this feature, I'll have access to Isotope campaign. So it's going to be a campaign just past the Doom campaign. This is where you acquire your ISO-8 crystals. There's multiple types of crystals, and each focused on one specific attribute. And also in this video, it showed orbs. So I'm sure that they're going to have packs and things like that. You slot the ISO-8 crystal in the Scientist Supreme latest invention, the ISO-8 Matrix, which increases the power of one of the 5 designated core attributes: health, damage, armor, resist, focus, and that correlates to the class of Blaster, Brawler, Controller, Protector, Support. So you don't have to think about that. The only thing you're going to have to think about is, okay, I've got X amount of ISO-8 I can install on blasters. What is going to be the best blaster character to upgrade ISO-8 first? And we're going to have to think about that a little bit. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to be focusing on my arena team, my raid teams, and symbiotes. So like if I'm looking at blasters, you can see that there's only a couple of super logical choices from blasters. If you pull some amazing ISO-8 and you want to upgrade your blasters, who are you going to upgrade? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to look at first. I'm going to look at Ultron, and I'm going to look at Black Bolt. Logical. And I think if you need help deciding which is the first blaster you should upgrade, I've got a video, link will be in the description, of all characters ranked, and it's a character grade. It's a class system of which characters are currently important in the game on a scale of 0 to 6, and 6 being the most important. So when you get ISO-8 for the blasters, you're going to say which blaster is going to be the best, which one should I upgrade first, and you're going to be able to go into your roster and say, hey, maybe I use Black Bolt in every single game mode. Maybe I should look at him before I pick something like, Shield Assault. You know what I mean? I don't know. Or, maybe you shouldn't be putting them on Ravager Boomer first. I'm just saying, It's going to be pretty logical. So that's like pretty much the first decision you're going to have to make is which blaster. I've acquired enough pieces for blaster. Which blaster one should I upgrade first? I've acquired enough pieces for a brawler. Which brawler one should I upgrade first? I've acquired enough pieces for controller. Which controller? What I'm going to be doing first is Ebony Maw Thanos because they're in arena. And then I'm also going to be heavily looking into symbiotes. I'm going crazy on symbiotes. And I'm sure it's going to expand to my arena teams, my raid teams, and then eventually to my war teams. But at first, I'm probably going to focus on Ebony Maw and Thanos first and symbiotes. That's just the path I'm going to go. Then, work your way through the isotope campaign to acquire the necessary crystals for each character trait. Equipped crystals allow access to powerful new classes. After you've acquired the ISO-8 crystal, your designated attribute, it's time to equip them. Each type of ISO-8 crystals can be equipped through one of the 5 slots in the ISO-8 matrix. This is pretty intuitive when you do it. If you have enough ISO-8 crystals, a lower level, you can fuse them to create a higher level ISO-8 crystal. And so I'm personally going to be trying to put one crystal on each character, because once I get them upgraded, then I can pick the classes. And I believe getting the classes and being able to use the classes by having one equipped to each character that I'm going to use is going to be primary focus. I'm not so much worried about taking, rather than only focusing on Black Bolt, let's say, I'm probably going to want to put one on Black Bolt and then one on Ultron rather than taking Black Bolt up higher to level, because once one of them is installed, you get access to the new system, which used to have the marked mechanic. They actually changed it to vulnerable. It's I think we're just going to call it the vulnerable system, but it's the class system, which they're going to talk about here in a minute. Each type of ISO-8 crystal can be equipped through one of 5 slots in the matrix. If you have enough ISO-8, a lower level, you can fuse them to create a higher level ISO-8. So I'm not going to be looking into fusing them right away, but rather I'm going to try to get in as many of these ISO-8s installed, as many characters as possible, because it unlocks the vulnerable mechanic, which is going to be vital for gameplay going forward. Once you've equipped all of your crystals into the matrix, you can unlock a powerful new classes. That's what we're talking about now. Classes where you can theory craft and customization comes alive. There are 5 classes: Striker, Fortifier, Healer, Skirmisher, and Raider. So you can see that right there. Now, once you've got the ISO-8 installed on them, you can, and it's on level 1, let's say, you can go and toggle between Striker level 1, Fortifier level 1, Healer level 1, Skirmisher, and Raider, and you can toggle between them pretty easily. Now, what's going to be developing over the next couple of weeks is what works best on what character, and we don't know. We're going to have to see how that works out. Are we going to want Black Bolt to be a Fortifier? Are we going to want Ultron to be a Striker? To be determined. But this is where I think it's going to be complicated and simple at the same time. Basically, I think this is where the customization comes into place, and theory crafters can go and build a team, and they're saying, if you're using this X-Man team, you want Phoenix to be this class, you want Colossus to be this class, and then there's going to be 1 or 2 correct choices, and you're probably going to be able to go to an infographic and quickly set up the team the way that the suggestions are being made. That is going to be determined in the future. We don't have enough information about what is going to be optimal, and this is where I'm going to say caution. Now, on each character, you have the option of taking it to Striker level 2, Fortifier level 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And I'm going to say that's going to be a mistake to do that right now, because if, let's say, you're working on Ant-Man and you decide to take your Ant-Man to Striker level 5, then I put out a guide saying that's the worst build you could do. You want Ant-Man to be a healer, and you should take him to Healer level 5. Well, you basically wasted resources by taking him to a Striker. So I'm saying right now is once the optimal builds are determined by the community and there's a lot of suggestions being made, then is the time to take them to Striker level 1, Striker level 2, Fortifier level 2, so on and so on. But right now, I'm just getting one installed on them and then being able to toggle between the ones, because there's no cost for that. It just is built into it, basically. Once you get it unlocked, you can toggle between the 5. But going up to 2 matters, and then if that's the class that you're not going to want to use permanently on the character, you basically wasted the resources. Make sense? Okay. What I'm saying is it's going to be really simple, because you're going to be able to look at an infographic and say, oh, this is the correct way to set up my Black Order. Okay, I want Ebony Maw to be the healer, and I want Proxima to be the skirmisher. I'm making this up because we haven't played it enough to come to determination. So this is showing Captain Marvel being a striker, and you can see the boost to her right there. She basically gets a bonus attack at 50% damage if the target is vulnerable. And that's why I think a character like Zemo is going to be very, very important, because he's going to go quickly, go first, and he's going to have the option of putting vulnerable on multiple targets, where a striker could take full advantage of this and get a double target. And this whole striker, fortifier, healer, skirmisher, raider is basically an entire new gameplay mechanic. It's going to play differently, and the way each one of the mechanics play out, we're going to read right here. You're going to see this is where the customization and the theory crafting is going to come into play. And it's actually going to require thinking on how to play out based on what character has vulnerable. To assign a class to each character, tap the center of the ISO-8 matrix to view your option. Once you've viewed a class and decided which one to equip, select the class and have your character empowered with a new set of abilities. You could switch between unlocked classes for free at any time, so don't be afraid to experiment. Find the right class for each character and the best combination class for each team. We just talked about that. Just like abilities, classes can be upgraded, and this is what I'm saying to not do right now. Don't do this yet. Don't upgrade the classes yet, because you might be upgrading the one that is not important on the character until the community figures out which classes are important on what characters. I'm going to suggest not doing this. Just like abilities, classes can also be upgraded. Classes require all ISO-8 crystals to be at the next level in order to upgrade. So for example, to upgrade from a class from level 1 to level 2, all ISO-8 crystals equipped must be at least level 2. So basically you have to have the this part of it upgrade to level 2, this part right here, before you can upgrade the class. Fine, not a big deal. You can, okay, so just like abilities, we did that. Upgrading classes cost basic ions, which were found in campaign nodes, in the basic ion orb, and in your daily objective, and they're showing that right here. But the true power of ISO-8 lies in each individual class and their effects, and this is where it gets complicated, because this is a new gameplay mechanic. Classes introduce these gameplay elements, and we're going to read this. Active healing, which increase all non-regenerative healing done by a character. Minor effects operate at 50% reduced strength. An ISO bonus attack is a new attack that a character is based on their basic attack. A character inflicted with vulnerable has incoming damage increased by 10%. This is additive with defense down. And so you can see this vulnerable. Now, this is a purple material, so I don't believe this is considered a negative status effect, and I don't think that's going to be able to be spread like with Carnage basic attack. It's not a negative status effect. It's just vulnerable. And then if a character has this striker class right here, then they get like a second attack, which was pretty cool. And then getting the characters, it used to be called marked, but they changed it to vulnerable. That's where like an early AoE is important. Because putting out the AoE early could apply the vulnerable to multiple characters based on the classes. And so we're going to read about that. And this is where the theory crafting is going to come into play. And there's going to be a billion more videos about what classes work well on certain teams under certain situations. And there's probably going to be 1 or 2 optimal builds. The classes interact with vulnerable in different ways. So keep that in mind when selecting a class. Here's a rundown of each class and their effects. Strikers enhance attacks and gain an extra attack on vulnerable enemies. So that's what we were talking there about Captain Marvel. Fortifiers protect themselves with the barrier. And there's questions on if the max barrier comes into effect. There's a bunch of questions about this stuff. More questions than answers. One of the biggest questions I still have is how does this affect clones? How is this going to affect Dark Phoenix Summon? We're going to see healers at the beginning of their turn heal a low health ally. So that's kind of going to be useful. Maybe there's going to be ways of going into U7 without a dedicated healer. Seems like my healers get deleted anyways, like Minerva and Shuri. So maybe I just won't need to use them anymore. I could put this healer ability and on Black Bolt and he'll heal himself through the raids. We'll see. Skirmishers create openings by applying vulnerable at enemies. And then raiders critically hit more frequently and can apply vulnerable. So this skirmisher and raider class, a lot of people, I'm going to have to see how this works. But if that's a first turn character that does AoE like Zemo, could be applying a vulnerable to multiple targets, then allowing the strikers to come in and follow up quickly. You now have all the tools to transfer your roster to the power of ISO-8. All that's left is to join Scientist Spree in the lab and start your own experiments. There are countless potential squad combinations offering an additional strategies with ISO-8. Don't be timid about trying new team configurations. We're looking at the new future improvements to the system, so please give us your feedback to even make it better. Good luck, Commander. And I just want to reinforce this. There's a couple decisions to be made. When you have the correct pieces to equip to a blaster, brawler, controller, protector, or support, you should be able to go into your roster and sort them accordingly. And my suggestion is, like, if you're trying to make a decision, let's say on controllers, you're probably going to want to put that on a controller that you're using in many game modes. Like, I'm thinking Venom would probably be my first choice. Like I said, as far as me, and when I first start this out, I'm going to be focusing on my arena team and my raids team. Maybe Proxima would be a good choice for controller. So those are the type of decisions you're going to have to be making first. And then the second decision you're going to have to make is, once you equip these, you know, what do you want them to do? Are you going to make them a striker, fortifier, healer, skirmisher, or raider? And that's fine. We're going to be able to, there's a lot of flexibility with doing that. You can toggle between them. We're going to be able to try different combinations. And I'm going to suggest to not take those to level 2 until we know what the optimal builds are. I hope this, I do want to alleviate some concerns, though, that this is going to be ultra time consuming. I don't think it will be. I don't think it doesn't affect speed, but I think that once these are set up and everything's locked in, I don't think you're gonna have to play with it. I think the initial setup might take a little bit of time, but once it's set up, I think it's gonna be fine. That being said, I also want to say that I am not the ISO-8 apologist or inventor of this. This could be absolutely terrible and trash tomorrow and horrifically expensive. We will find out. Master beta testers unite. Come hang out and stream tomorrow. We're going to try all this stuff out. All right, let me know what you think in the comments section. But before we go, it's time for the giveaway. I really hope you liked this video today, because if you did, you are in luck. For every single person that likes this video will be getting for free in your account and 9 red star Scream. And I really like how Scream is holding advanced phosphates and all the bio gear. Please, guys. Looks like the next 3 characters are going to be bio. Start farming your bio gear now. It's important. Each character needs 150 to 200 of these. I know I've got about 190 of these, and I'm just getting these everywhere. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. As always, thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.